Hello, and welcome to another edition of Coffee Talk with immigration attorney Brian D. Lerner. Uh, in this particular episode, I'd like to talk a little bit about a court decision that essentially overturned what former Attorney General Jeff Sessions did in his regard under the Trump administration to try to limit, reduce, and stop asylum. They've essentially done everything they can hope to do, but it keeps being brought to court, and different courts keep overturning what they do as arbitrary and capricious. And what that means is that when there is law, that means that the law must be followed. And if a decision to end that law, to bypass that law, or to stop that law, or to reverse that law is done with no legal reason other than it being arbitrary, capricious, and what they want to do, then it's going to be overturned. And that's what happened here. So let me just give a little background. There are a lot of people coming from around the world, and a lot actually from Central America, where domestic violence was rampant. Okay, these people were coming in claiming asylum, and they were basically being beaten to a pulp by their spouses, and the government was doing nothing. It was almost basically saying, "This is a domestic issue, not our problem. Goodbye, have a nice day." And so it took quite a few years in the United States to develop the law on whether or not essentially a victim of domestic violence is in essentially a protected group where they would be able to claim asylum because of that. And while all of that was going forward for many years, there was a lot of cases on hold while they were deciding what to do and how to do it. And ultimately it came out that, in fact, yes, the people who come into the United States based upon being victims of domestic violence, they are in a protected group in which to apply for asylum. So a little while back, former Attorney General Jeff Sessions essentially vacated the rule, the case which allowed this. And when asked why he did that, his response was basically, well, a lot of the people coming in are lying. Okay, no evidence, no specific case, no testimony, no statistics, nothing. Just a statement, well, a lot of them are coming in and they're lying, so therefore he's going to vacate that case. Well, that's not a real good reason to vacate years of work and a case allowing this protected group. And the court saw right through that. The court saw that, in fact, it was arbitrary and capricious, which means they know the real reason he did it. He did it in which to limit further the asylum. Perhaps he had a chart of the most applied asylum applications and under what category, and said, well, maybe we'll just cut this one out and that'll cut the asylums by a third. Well, that's not how the law works. Whether you claim asylum and whether it's granted is not a numbers game, and that's really what he tried doing. It's whether you qualify or not, whether you fall under the asylum laws or not, whether you are granted it or not, based upon a trial application, looking at the witnesses, the facts, the evidence. It's not just cutting it out arbitrarily like that. So this is just another decision that's been overturned, where the Trump administration has tried to bypass the law and the due process of people coming in. So it's a good reminder that, in fact, the courts are there to provide a balance of power against an administration that keeps trying over and over again to limit due process and the rule of law. So it's a good thing for those who are applying for asylum based on domestic violence. If you were denied in the last year or so asylum because of that, and because the case was vacated, you need to make a motion to reopen to get back into court based upon this current federal decision that overturned Attorney General Sessions' vacation of the decision in the first place. So if you like the video, click like, subscribe, and more in the coming weeks. And also, happy holidays to you and your families. There are brighter days ahead. Thank you.